Well, hello. We are on episode 14 of the 11 Intuitions podcast, and I'm very excited for today. We have my student who has turned into a colleague, and we are here with Minda. I asked her to come on today so we could talk about our journey together and how she went from student to colleague. I'm so excited that you're here today, and we were just joking about how the camera picture is blurry. It's funny because we love Spirit and Spirit loves to joke, and Spirit is always involved in our lives, and we're gonna talk about that today. But I just wanted to ask you, Minda, if you remember how you and I met. I tried to look back and find it, but I just can't. So I know we've known each
Mm,
other for quite maybe a year now. I don't know. How long have we known each other?
yeah, I actually was thinking back. I feel like I reached out to you when I was in Morocco, which was in January of this year. And I found you through a post that you had made on Facebook. And something just
Hmm.
inside me said, reply to this message. And so I did, and I got on a call with you, and I just found you to be so down to earth. And I mean, down to earth. That's funny because we're not really that down to earth, to be honest. But I just found you to be really compassionate and really understanding. And you just really met me where I was. And I feel like that is your superpower is meeting people where they are and not intending to leave them there. And you were very accommodating with my specific needs and my fears, which were very vast at the time. I had this knowing that spirit was opening up to me in a really big way. And I didn't know too many people. I mean, literally, I could count them on one hand. Maybe three people that I could have these conversations with. It was really so beautiful to find you and to be able to speak freely about these gifts that were opening up inside of me. And it's to you in your world, it's just completely normal. You talk about it like we talk about putting jam on toast. And that's what my heart desired at that time was just to be able to fully express myself as all of this unknown was unfolding in my life.
It's beautiful. And you said it's only January. I just feel like you and I have known each other for years, honestly. I
Well, we
feel,
have.
yeah,
Let's be real.
lifetimes. Yes, it's so true. And so much has happened in my life since I've known you. And I feel like I've gone through such a transformation since February, and here we are in November, and I just can't believe it's only been since January. But you really have developed so much since I've started working with you, and I'm so proud of you. But the way that I see you now, I I saw you then, and you have grown into that. You've done the hard work, and that's a testament to you. But I always saw that into you the first time that I saw you read. But now you really have blossomed into that wonderful, wonderful medium. And it really is a confidence thing that you came to me for. And I'm so glad that you have joined our team. I want to talk about, how did you get your gifts? We all have an origin story. So how did that happen for you?
For me, it was a gradual process for sure. And looking back, I can now see all of the I like to call them rose petals that were dropped. And but one the story that I feel called to share is, 2020 was really chaotic for everyone. And for me, it had nothing to do with COVID and everything to do with a breaking down of the religion that I had been practicing for 47 years. And one thing after another was just testing me to my limits. I felt like I was in a boxing ring and I kept getting knocked out and then I had to get back up again and then I'd be knocked out again and I got to get back up again and life was just handing me one thing after another and for 3 solid years I was really in fight or flight with a very disre- dysregulated nervous system And it felt like every part of my life was breaking down. And that's because it was on purpose. And at the end of 2022, just when I thought things could not get any crazier, my husband ended up getting hit by a car on his motorcycle, and it crushed the entire right side of his body. And he was in the hospital for a month. And at the end of that month, we knew he was never going to go back to his job, his profession as a master gardener, horticulturist, tree surgeon. That was just not in the cards. And we also had this knowing, even in all of the chaos, this deep knowing that the universe was sending us a big message and it was time to pivot. And we felt really held through all the chaos. We just felt so held, like just trust and keep moving forward. Well, flash forward, my husband and I decided to sell everything, and the universe was calling us on a grand adventure through 25 countries. And that's what we've been up to for the last almost 3 years. And while we were in one of those places, we did some projects where we would match up with people who needed our help on like farming or whatever they were building or cooking or projects or watching animals. And we found this amazing website that enabled us to do all of these wonderful projects and help people and meet a lot of people. And one of the projects was in Twyford, England, and it was restoring this kitchen garden. It was an acre kitchen garden that this man had had. He actually owned a 5-star Michelin restaurant in London. He was diagnosed with cancer, and he decided to sell the restaurant, move out to the country, and live off the land, grow all of his own fruits and vegetables, everything very organic, and he ended up living another 16 years. He got in a tractor accident, which mangled his leg, and he ended up dying shortly thereafter. His property was gifted to his 3 nephews, and one of the nephews, who was living on the property, found us and said, "Can you come help us restore this garden and this beautiful property to get it ready to sell?" While I was in the garden pulling weeds one day, I felt this overwhelming presence of someone, of a spirit who was thanking me just with so much gratitude. I can't really explain what I felt in my body, in my heart, but it was just a presence of someone that said, "Thank you so much for loving this place as much as I did." And I just knew it was Richard. I knew it was him. And even though I wanted to say, "Was it? Like, this is strange. I couldn't deny it." And it wasn't the first time I'd connected with someone in the spirit world. My grandma passed when I was 3, and I've been very connected to her, but it was my grandma. This was very different. This was someone I hadn't tried to connect to, that just pretty much unsolicitedly came in and started sending me messages. After that, I started getting near-death experiences come up on my YouTube, show up on Reels, like out of nowhere. I became so fascinated with near-death experiences that so much so I just listened to them all day, every day while I'm out working in the garden. And at one point, I even told my husband, "Listen, if I die, like, I don't know why I'm watching all these. I don't know why I'm so drawn to this, but I am. If I die, don't worry, I'm coming back. Like, I just need to tell you that." Probably 100 near-death experiences later, I felt like I really knew what was happening in the spirit world. I also during one of these near-death experiences, I was connected to this woman called Suzanne Giesman, who talked about doing a course at Arthur Findlay College in Stansted, England. It's a world-renowned college for development of psychic and mediumship gifts and a host of other things. And my soul just knew, find out more about that, and you're going to go there. And so less than 6 months later, I found myself sitting in a course at Arthur Findlay College, which honestly feels like Harry Potter land for adults. It is the most magical, mystical. I could go on and on about it. It's like one of the most sacred places I've ever been in my life. And I just walked through those doors of Stansted Hall, and I just had this feeling like you're home. You're home. You can be yourself here. You can talk about whatever you want here. It's not weird here. It's not too much here. It's not too crazy here. Like, you get to be exactly who you are and feel so deeply held and supported by people who have been doing this for a very long time, your home. And I'll pause there. But
Yeah.
that's a big part of my story.
And and I'm just so humbled that, you chose to work with me when, you've gone to one of the greatest places to learn mediumship. Your story is beautiful. It really is. And the things that you do, you go from house to house to house to help people. Like right now you're living in a castle in France. The ladies of 11 Intuitions, they got to kind of see a little bit of your magical life right now, and um they call you our Disney princess.
I know,
And
I feel like
so,
Belle. I really do feel like Belle in this magical castle in the south of France. And, that's what it feels like, Melissa, since all these gifts have opened to me and all of this new awareness and understanding of who I am. My life feels like magic. It truly does.
and having these gifts are amazing, but they do come at a cost, unfortunately, and we both understand that. People always say, "Oh, I want to become a medium. Oh, I want to have that." But, you know, we all have that, and
I say,
you know,
do you? Do you really? You sure?
yeah. We just want to point out it's not all unicorns and rainbows out there. And you yourself are putting a podcast out also. Can I ask you about that and what it's called and what it's going to be about? Because I've listened to the first episode and it was really wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel like everything that is happening in my life has been guided by spirit. I really just don't do anything unless it's led by spirit because I just really know that partnering with the universe, with the spirit world, with our guides, with our angels is where the potency lies. We can just like shoot from our hip, throw spaghetti on the wall, hope things will work. And I've done that in the past many, many times. I've done that. But I realize now when I can sit in quiet in the silence and receive what the next thing is for me, that's what gains the most momentum in my life. And so I received this podcast. I received the name, I received the purpose of it. Um, I have been very drawn, and I feel like one of um, the reasons that I've been walking down this path is because of my connection with Mary Magdalene. That came in really strong for me a couple of years ago. Again, I've been just there's been rose petals dropped all over the world for me to follow in her footsteps. And I believe that I received this podcast through her. The title of it is called Practical Magic, and it's because I am one part Capricorn, Capricorn sun, very practical side, and I'm two parts Pisces, moon and rising, which is very mystical and magical. And I call myself a magician. I am a trained coach. I'm very good at getting to the bottom of things and understanding the why and helping people sink into the shadow and why things are happening and our thoughts around them and doing somatic work. I'm trained in that, but one day I was sitting in meditation and I realized I'm not so much a coach. I'm a magician. I'm an alchemist. I love to turn the lead of life into gold and watch our lives soar as we go through that beautiful and humbling and sacred process of alchemizing the pain and the suffering in our lives and turning it into our superpowers, into our joy, into our reason for being, into our reason for existing. And so I will be having many conversations with women that are uncensored, unfiltered, raw, real about what it has been like to live life in the suffering, in the density, in the lack, in the separation, and what it looks like to go from that into living a life that's in the D, where there's no lack, there's no separation, there's no density, where we're not afraid of death and dying because we know that we just keep continuing on this beautiful path and we just get to keep accelerating wherever we are. There will be threads of Mary Magdalene woven in. I believe that Mary Magdalene is a very, very powerful archetype. I believe that she is the counterpart to Jesus, Yeshua. I grew up in a religion where I was very, very close, and I still do have a very deep bond with Yeshua. And now that I know that he actually had a counterpart who was just as powerful, just as potent, she baptized, she healed, she anointed. And together they showed us what it's like to be fully human and fully divine and to stay in the frequency of divine unconditional love, no matter what, in the face of the biggest challenges. No matter what, we stay in that divine frequency of love. And I know that is my message. That's the ultimate message that I'm here to share, that I'm here to embody, is what does love look like in every single situation, in every circumstance, always and forever, no matter what. And in discovering that in myself, I've been through some deep, deep initiations, deep, dark initiations that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And yet, through all of that, I have become this word, this is coming to me from spirit. I become a pillar of strength so that I can also be a light into the world. And I'm not saying that in an egoic way. I'm saying that in a way that we all are that. I am just very, very clear and aware that that is my mission. And I am not willing to deviate from that. I'm here to do whatever is necessary for me to be able to keep raising my vibration, keep staying and being committed to being in the frequency of love. And this is the way that I'm going to offer my gifts to the planet. And this is the way that we will ultimately shift humanity into a new world.
We have a group thread, a group message with all of us at 11 Intuitions. We were just talking about it just a few days ago. And one of the biggest misconceptions that a lot of people have about the work that we do, about mediumship, is that you should not do it because in the Bible it says don't talk to people like us. I brought up the conversation the other day about how we all have been brought together. And I believe that we were brought together through Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene also. If people could see our chats, we talk about Jesus, we talk about angels, we talk about the saints, the higher entities so much. We just all are so connected with that. There's no ego in our group at all. There's no hierarchy in the group at all. Yes, I am the founder of 11 Intuitions. There has to be someone that brought us all together, but Spirit brought us all together. And we all just sit in awe of each of us. And we all tell each other all the time how much we appreciate each other, how much we support each other. And, you know, this group that we're all in together, we're stronger together. And it's so beautiful. And when you came in, we were all really, we're so excited, you know, because you just radiate this light. And you know that you are channeling something even higher than what we can imagine. And I just want to let you know that. But can you expound on, you know, what we were talking about the other day about Mother Mary?
It's funny because right here where we're at in France, I'm in a town of 47 people. That includes me and my husband. And I walked the whole town. It took me 310 steps to walk through the whole town. And we're the castle on the hill, right? And oddly enough, in this tiny town, there is a little tiny chapel with a giant statue of Mother Mary, a giant
Whoa.
statue. And I mean, you can't make this up. There's no accidents here. And so I walk past her every day. And a lot of times I communicate and we have this ongoing dialogue and this ongoing conversation because what Mary means to me, what Mary is the ultimate nurturer. Mary represents to me somebody who can step in when we don't have the nurturing that we desired from our own mothers. And a lot of us in this field had a lot of trauma, and a lot of it stems from not being able to not having that nurturing that we desired, that we craved, that we wanted so desperately as children. And I can speak for myself when I say, I was not nurtured in the way that I wanted to be. And what I've understood about that through Mary and through her teachings with me is that the reason why we chose to have these parents, specifically these mothers, those of us who have this mother wound, and I absolutely believe that I chose this. I chose this woman to give birth to me and to, raise me for the first 18 years and to be part of my life forever. I chose her. As difficult as it's been, which it's been my number one most challenging initiation, I'll say that. I chose it, and now I know, after all these years of questioning and being the victim and wondering, why does everyone else have a mom that they can go shopping with and make pies with at Thanksgiving and all the things that I just dreamt about, and just have a mother I can sit and have a conversation with and that can meet me where I am. I realize I chose this because what happens is when we don't get that love from a mother, we ultimately get to go about the beautiful work of finding that love within ourselves. And there is nothing more precious. There is nothing more beautiful. There is nothing more stunning, more spectacular in this world than being able to find that love within ourselves, love ourselves so deeply that no one can take that away from us. No one. And then we get to see other people that same way that we see ourselves. And that is the gift that Mary has given me, is this gift of, I love myself. I know myself. I am in deep awe and reverence and respect of myself. And I have no ego in that. I have no ego when it comes to this love that I've developed for myself. And I now get to see other people through that same exact lens. And this is a gift. When I can see other people as God, because I see myself as God, this is why we're here. This is the greatest gift that I can give myself and other people. And this is through the work that I've been able to do with the Ascended Master Mother Mary.
That's beautiful. So you work with so many wonderful, wonderful people, and you've met so many wonderful people. And you've introduced us to Tammy, our astrologer. And we met her and just fell in love with her. And now she works with us. Can you tell us how you met Tammy?
Oh my goodness, yes. So Tammy and I are a part of a community. It's so interesting. We all have read this book. It's called The Ultimate Coach, and oddly enough, has nothing to do with coaching. It has everything to do with who you're being. And it's brought together this beautiful community. The book was written about a man called Steve Hardison, but again, it's not about him. It's like, who can you read this book with about another person, but it's about yourself? It's the most fascinating book I've ever read, because you're reading the book about someone, but ultimately you're reading it about you. So it takes a few times to read the book. But anyway, there's this whole community around it. And it's really a loving, supportive community around who are you being in every single moment? Who are you being? When life goes good, when life is serving you lemons in every single moment of your life, who are you being? And through this community, I met a woman. Her name is Judy Thurston. And Judy created a group of women who's in a container called Soul Circle. And that's how Tammy and I met, in that group. And I think we've known each other for probably 3 years or so. When I first met Tammy, she was in a very, very different place. She had a very different energy, but I just saw this light in her. I just saw this spark in her. She had some big challenges going on in her life, but there also was this magic in her that you could not deny. And the progress I've seen in Tammy, the growth, the journey that Tammy's been on over the last 3 years is absolutely remarkable. And I say, watch out, world, watch out, because Tammy has a big mission here. She has been to the depths of hell. She has risen, and she rises every single time. She's been to the depths many times, and she continues to rise. And what I love about her is she's so childlike in her she's so teachable. She's so willing to be wrong. She's also very gifted. But ever since I've known Tammy, and I've worked with her for probably 2 of those 3 years in various capacities, she's so willing to learn. She's so willing. I said she's so teachable. And that is one of the most precious qualities that someone can have. And I see that all over in her. And she's magical. She's otherworldly. She's a stand for what's possible in people's lives. She has such a beautiful spirit and energy. She's pure. And I had a conversation with you about a spot in 11 Intuitions for an astrologer, and immediately Tammy came into my mind. And that's how it works when we're in the flow. That's how it works when we're connected to spirit, is
Mhm.
divine synchronicities, divine timing, collapsing time, awe and wonder and miracles show up. And I feel like that's exactly the process that it was bringing Tammy into this group. And I'm thrilled to be working alongside of her.
While you were talking about Tammy, I've been to the depths of hell. You have, Tammy has, everyone on our team has. And it makes me wonder about this gift. I don't think that you can really have this gift and appreciate it and be able to help others if you haven't been there. Have you met anybody who has this gift that hasn't been there to the depths of hell and worked their way back?
I think that a lot of this work is about meeting your shadow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's really what a lot of us who have this gift came in. And no, to answer your question, no, I feel like my soul family are a bunch of like brokenhearted Christians, just basically people that are trying to find our way in the world,
Mm-hmm.
like really, we're people who have really stepped into a really interesting initiation where the foundation has been shaken. Our entire foundations, our identities, who we thought we were, what we thought we were here for, has been completely shaken. And I'm seeing the image of a phoenix. We have had this beautiful opportunity to rise from the ashes and to come together and to support one another and to open up our intuition and these gifts in magical ways so that we can now help support other people. And really, you cannot go to the depths with someone else that you have not been yourself. And when we're doing this work that is powerful and is sacred, it's not to be trifled with. I'll tell a brief story that's coming in that I feel like I
Yes,
might
please.
share. One of my good friends has a son who passed away from a drug overdose when he was 18. And he's started bringing messages to me for her, for me. It's just such a sacred privilege for me to be able to bring her messages from her son. And I feel very connected to him. I feel like he's connecting me with a lot of people in this world as well. But my good friend, his mother, her name is Judy. She was watching this psychic medium on TV and, thought it was really fun that he was doing these interactions with people when I think when they get in a taxi, something like that. And he's really famous in Hollywood, and she wanted to have a reading with him. And I said, go for it. You just signed a really big client. You should. And I said, how much is it? And she said, it's $1,000 for a half an hour for a phone reading. And I kind of like was taken back a little, but I'm like, go girl, like go for it. And I have no problem. If people want to charge $1,000, like, and people will pay it, go for it. If this is something you want to do, you feel called to, do it. And call me after. Good heavens, call me after and tell me how it went. I'm expecting fireworks. She calls me after and she says, it was a total letdown. I said, well, what happened? She goes, everything he told me, he could have Googled about me. I said, oh, that's interesting. She said, he did tell me one thing that he wouldn't have known. And it's that he knew that I have my son's AirPods, my son that passed. I have his AirPods. And that's true. And he couldn't have known that. Well, the next night, her son woke me up at 3 a.m, which is my time. I know if I get woken up in the morning, it's time for me to get out my pen and my journal and start writing. And he gave me page after page after page of wisdom for his mother. And he said, I am going to come to those who I want to come to, who are pure in heart. I don't play games. This isn't about tricks and games. This is about me coming to people who are pure, and gave me these beautiful messages about this business that she's building and how she's collaborating with him on the other side and God and all these miracles that are happening and that are going to happen. And it's just to trust. And then at the end, he said, the reason I showed him the AirPods is because I knew I was going to communicate with you and I knew you were going to send this back to my mom. And I want her to know that anytime she wants to feel connected to me, all she has to do is pick up my AirPods and put them in her ear and I'm right there. That's why I showed him the AirPods. And after that, Melissa, I feel so humbled that this is what I've been called to do. I feel so in awe that Spirit has chosen to work with me and that I've chosen this. I know I chose all of this. I know I chose to come into this lifetime, have the hardship, have the deep initiations that would break me open and ultimately lead me to this life where I get to do the most sacred and potent and important work that I feel that I could be doing on this earth. Bringing messages to people from the spirit world, helping people understand that yes, life goes on, that yes, life is beautiful, that death is not the end, that our loved ones, that our angels, that our guides are so absolutely invested in our every breath, in our every step, in every move we make. We are not doing this alone. And when we think we're alone, all we have to do is take 3 breaths and tune into the spirit world and they're there with us.
Amen to that. It's so true. And I really, really wish more people understood this. Life would be so much more simple. And not to say that we don't doubt it. I mean, we do. Yesterday, I was really struggling. I shared this with you that my husband got laid off after 30 years and we're struggling. It's on his 3rd week and we're running out of money. And I pray that it's going to come. And Spirit's just like, I've got you. But, our human mind is, okay, I know you got us, but the bank account is like, really? Okay. Just 2 weeks ago when the day came that he lost his job, I can feel his emotions. I can feel his sadness. And I told the group, I said, I'm in a little bit of a low spot and I'm just going to take today off and this weekend. And I'm so sorry. They were so loving and kind and caring. And they're like, take all the time you need. I felt like I was letting them down. But when you work with people who do this work, you don't get the backlash of, well, why are you taking time off? We need you. We need this. And it's such a different environment than what I'm used to being in. What can I do to help you? What can I take from you? But still, even I want people to understand, even though you have this gift, you still doubt it. I told my husband, please send this email. Spirit helped me with the email. And within an hour, they confirmed money is coming. And I'm sitting here like, why do you doubt it? We're human. We're still human. And I've got Spirit in my head going, we tell you not to doubt it. They're always there to help you.
The ego is so necessary in this human existence. It's a huge part of this human existence and it will never go away. It will never go away and it's not supposed to. Like we're not supposed to kill the ego. We're not supposed to do anything. We have the opportunity and the invitation to integrate our ego, to work with it, to love it, to be with it. And one thing that's present for me right now is I'm just deciding that being uncertain and unsure of my gifts, being uncertain am I connected to Spirit? Am I making that up? Because that's something that we all wrestle with in the beginning for sure, but probably over the entire course of our lifetime with whatever we're doing, but it's certainly with this work. It's easy to second guess ourselves. But lately I've been tutored by Spirit and Spirit is saying to me through Mary Magdalene wrote her own gospel. And in it, she says that the only sin, we're not sinners. We don't need a savior. The only sin is when we deny who we really are, when we turn away from who our divinity. That is the only time we sin. And so in essence, Melissa, I've realized that doubting myself is the only sin that exists. Denying who I am, my godliness, my powers, my full divinity is the only sin, quote unquote.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Well, thank you for joining me, and thanks for joining our team officially. And we really do love having you. And I'm excited to see what all this is going to grow into. And thank you everybody for joining episode 14 of the 11 Intuitions podcast. And if you'd like more information about what Minda talked about, what I talked about, or anything that our practitioners offer, you can find more information at www.11intuitions.com.